Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and do a little Drive to Survive review of season 3. I'm going to have to put my glasses on though because I have my laptop to the side of me with all my notes on and I can't read it because I'm blind. So bear with me, you might see a glare but we're going to have a nice little chat. So the glare is so bad, it literally looks like I've got my ring light is like my eyes. Like it's actually really freaky. It's actually freaking me out. I'm going to start off by saying I know a lot of, F1 fans don't like Drive to Survive or whatever, but I love it. Like, I just love how you can see so much of like behind the scenes and everyone's lives, kind of. I think it kind of shows like the other side to things. I know we see a lot on social media, but I think in a way it's just kind of different and interesting. And there's no denying it's attracting new fans. And again, this is something that, some of the F1 fans don't like. But honestly, what's the harm? I get where you're coming from because I remember, I think it was a couple of weeks ago now, Gogglebox on Channel 4 put on Drive to Survive. Obviously it was episode 9. As soon as I knew that they were going to be showing Drive to Survive, I knew it would be that episode. And then Twitter kind of went in a frenzy because people were tweeting, oh, I might watch Drive to Survive if it's like this, when it's not like that at all. And I suppose that is where people are coming from when, you've got your DTS fans and your F1 fans. After watching this season, I do kind of see where people are coming from because the certain bits, it gives such a reality show vibe. And I don't know why I never noticed it in series 1 and series 2. Things are like really, really exaggerated. For example, one of the radio, so it was like the Lando and Carlos episode. It was the radio. And I don't remember where there was in the clip, but Lando was behind Carlos and Carlos had kind of swooped out a little bit and they played Lando's radio. And I was watching it and I was like, that's not that radio. And then it clicked, it was the radio. So the radio was, what is he doing? He's just turned in on me. And that was from Austria when Perez turned in on Lando. So that was the first time I kind of noticed the radios and I was just like, what? I see why they're doing it, but then again, what's the point when we're just going to catch you out? Then that wasn't the only radio. There's one with Charles and Seb and a couple of others as well that my little brother had picked out and told me. Even I've missed some of them because I'm the type to just stick on a series and just, I know it's F1 and I love F1, but again, I kind of zone out. So that was the only one I really picked up on because I was watching that episode properly because, it was the McLaren episode. Obviously, they've just put it in there to spice it up, but, when you kind of put them things together, and obviously, like I said, with the new fans kind of joining the community through Drive to Survive and stuff like that, it's a very polished side to everything. They think that's what it's like when it's really not. But it looks like I started with the negatives and I'm going to carry on. I'm so shocked that there wasn't that George Mercedes episode. Like, I know it got mentioned and I know they follow certain drivers and teams on race weekends, but come on, something like this happening and you expect it to be featured in the series. Many people were looking forward for that episode and it just didn't come, and it's gutting. And also, speaking of that, there was no Aitken or Fittipaldi. Like, it was their debut in Formula 1. I wanted to see that, even if it's like a video of when they do like, the one-to-one interview kind of things. No Aitken, no Fittipaldi. And coming off that, there was no Nico Hülkenberg. I think there was a clip of him walking, but I was so excited to see the bloke back on Netflix and he just never come. That was a massive thing. Like, Nico Hülkenberg coming back to the sport. Racing Point, we know Racing Point got covered and that was the weekend, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm sure that was one of the weekends at Silverstone where they had the points reducted and the fine. And obviously then Checo had COVID, and I know that's a sensitive issue anyway, but it's Nico Hulkenberg, man. And another thing that's, I think it's probably my own opinion, I don't think anyone else agrees with me with this, is I am all about the future. How many times are we going to revisit the Gasly, Red Bull, Albon situation? Like, I know it's a massive thing, but did it really need that much coverage as it did? Like, Gasly is so comfortable now at AlphaTauri, and I know last year was kind of like the year he proved himself. Just felt like throughout the series it was just like this massive thing. And it is kind of like the Red Bull show. Because how many episodes really have Red Bull had in the season? I'm pretty sure it's half of it. There's just that massive gloom over the second Red Bull seat, and I know, I mean, there still is now, but it's just, how many times do we have to revisit the whole situation? Like, fair enough, mention it in, like, I don't know, do a half an episode, or do a full episode and follow, like, Albon in the beginning, explain the whole situation, and then go on to Gasly and how well he's so comfortable at AlphaTauri, and how well he's progressing. Does it really need to drag that much? Because it really took most of the series. A lot of other things could have been covered. I'm not a Lewis fan, but I was quite looking forward to seeing like a little special episode on Lewis, and you know, his titles and what he achieved last year. And again, it just never come. Turkey, Imola, Portugal. Did we go there? Did we go there? Was Turkey? What? Where was they? Abu Dhabi got a full episode, and Turkey was such a monster of a race. Like, I'm so gutted. Like, fair enough if you don't want to show like Portugal, because I don't know what happened in Portugal, to be honest. And Imola, can't remember what happened in Imola. Oh, George spun, didn't he? But I remember Turkey, because Turkey was amazing. So again, I'm so surprised they didn't add that in, because that race was so different, because it was so wet. How many times did Bottas slide, for goodness sake? Add that in. That is pure entertainment. But no, again, it never comes. I just thought, like, we're visiting these new tracks. It's a different season anyway. It would have been nice for them to put it in, but they just didn't. And honestly, I feel like I'm going to have to have words with this director person. I'm going to have to have words with him, because it's just not on. I've just missed so much. And I got to the last episode, and obviously, like, I was gutted about like George and the Merc thing, and I was thinking, Williams, the Williams family left Formula One. That is a massive thing. That day when they left, it was such an emotional day, and they had all the tributes and everything. Again, it got mentioned in passing. Again, gutted, because that was such a massive thing. I'm on to the last negative now, I promise. How many little clips did they need to use for one big clip? But I only really noticed it in Austria with Lando, because I suppose Lando has so many different helmets. Like, I swear down, he got in his testing helmet, he was driving then in his normal helmet, and then he was in his Austria helmet, and then he was back in his normal helmet by the end of the lap. It was just like, what? So, on to some positives. There was so much to cover last year, and I think they did do their best to try and cover everything. You know, we had Ferrari being slow, which had the airtime it needed. We also had the driver changes, which got touched up on, and the many different podiums. And I mean, I'm kind of shocked that that didn't all get picked up on, but it was still there. Like I mentioned about the McLaren episode, there was some like bits, but it was nice to finally get like a McLaren episode, and it was good to finally get like the team properly involved. Like, I feel like it was a lot better than previous series. And also, I can't forget like the involvement of Alfa Romeo and Ray. I'm just so happy they all kind of had a bit of time. I'm also really glad that Lewis got to speak about the end racism movement in the last episode. I think that was something that really needed to be mentioned. because it was something that needed to be aired. Can we just talk about Seb's IDAF? IDGAF attitude, please. How funny was it? Like, I was laughing my head off. It really cheered me up. Never realised how funny Seb actually is until like this last year. I'm totally here for it, and he can carry it on until he retires because I absolutely love it. The first episode, I must say, I really liked. Like, the structure of everything. It touched up on everything at the beginning of the season. We had testing, Australia, and the biggest controversial moment from the start of last year, Racing Point. And, you know, we got to see their launch as well. Oh, I must say, it is so weird, like, seeing, like, massive events like that and not seeing anybody wearing masks or social distancing. I don't know about you, but even, like, just watching normal movies, like what I've always watched, and they get close to each other, it's like, I was kind of getting that. And I think the first time I kind of switched that on was when Danny Rick was on the phone to, I think it was his mum, who was in the car. And she's like, oh, are you wearing your face mask? And I was like, he's not wearing his face mask. But obviously, it wasn't that bad then. It's mad to think, you know, people were going to the Australian Grand Prix and, you know, absolutely gutted that it got cancelled, and there was all like Chinese whispers in the paddock and stuff like that. And what massive effect it had on everybody in Formula One and the world. My last positive is Jenny. Jenny was in Drive to Survive. I love Jenny. Like, I hope to see her in Drive to Survive season 4 because I miss Chris, but I loved having Jenny there. It was so nice. So they were my notes from Drive to Survive season 3. I know there was a lot of negatives and not that many positives, but I will carry on watching. Is there anything that you picked up on? Do you watch Drive to Survive yourself? Because I know a lot of F1 fans kind of stay away from watching it. But what was your thoughts? I'd love to know. Drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and to like the video.